Keynote and a focus on scale. So now let's narrow it down to the Kenyan experience. I'd like to introduce Professor Mburu. Uh, he is a seasoned agricultural and resource economist with over 25 years of experience in agricultural value chains, natural resource economics, and post-harvest systems. He is a professor at the University of Nairobi, Department of Agricultural Economics, and currently serves as a cold chain expert with the World Bank, Kenya's country office. Professor Mburu holds a PhD and Master's in Agricultural Economics from the University of Göttingen, Germany, and a BSc in Agriculture from the University of Nairobi. His work prepares cost and benefit analysis, institutional economics, and sustainable livelihoods with a strong publication record in post-harvest technologies and biodiversity. So over to you, Dr. Mburu.
Thank you very much. Yeah, what I'm going to present to us this evening is some work I did for the World Bank and also for WWF Denmark. And it will be very interesting because it sets the context in the country, and then we're able to look at some of the challenges and where we are going. And I'll start by talking about why we need cold chain infrastructure. It's like the presentation is gone. Yes, it has come back. Thank you. Why we need cold chain infrastructure. There are many reasons, and you see them. But the key one is reduction of post-harvest losses or food waste. And in fact, food loss contributes to losses as far as farmers' income is concerned, but also contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. And recently, World Bank documented that food loss is the third contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, and is only next to China and US. And you can see the kind of food that we have in the market, ranging from meat to fruits and even milk. What you see on the right-hand side there, it's milk, the way it is being packaged from the dry areas. Next. And this is what we are missing. We are missing some freshness in something that we can also enjoy, and also something that is going to consume us whole, and we don't have losses for producers. I think that will be very interesting. And therefore, understanding of losses is key when we are talking about cold chain infrastructure in Kenya. You see, like in dairy, we lose 17% in the formal marketing channel and about 40% in the informal marketing channel. And in chicken, it's about 13 when you are handling and transporting. And if you are just doing direct slaughter, it's about 5%. And the other crops you'll see, like even French beans, we are losing a lot when we don't have the exporters in the value chain. But when they're involved, we lose about 7.5% and 7% for snow peas. I'd like also to mention like bananas, where we don't have cooling at all. You can see there we are losing about 18 to 45% of light bananas. So therefore, cooling would support reduction of these losses. When we go to fisheries, and this is an example of some work we did in Lamu, you can see that most of the groups of fisheries, like the crustaceans and demersals, we lose about 20%. However, there are others, particularly that are for exports, that we are losing very little about zero. So then we see losses mainly affect producers because like consumers who are buying direct from the market, some of them add very little to the price. And therefore, if we invest on losses, we could get more income for producers and not really for consumers. That's what was being shown in this case of fisheries. And you see in the next slide then, we look at what's the key problem now. With all these losses and having consequences on food insecurity and food safety concerns and loss of income, we can bring in curing as a solution. And curing or investments in cold chain could address market grants such that we can have our farmers or producers uh, getting good prices throughout the season, or they can be able to tap into the high-end export markets and export markets. And at the same time, we can be able to provide the security that is needed as far as food and nutrition is concerned and mitigate on climate change effects. However, the scenario is different because what we have found in the country is that there's low uptake of cold chain infrastructure, and therefore we are not able to reap the benefits that are there. And the main issue here is that we have got prohibitive costs. The costs are very high, particularly investment costs. And we have low demand for goods, for good products in the market. So we need to invest in terms of awareness of the importance of curing. And with this, then, we haven't realized in the country the impact that we can get from curing. And that's where we are going so that we can benefit from cold chain investments in the sector, in the agricultural sector. In the next slide, then, I show you different different factors that, in addition to food loss, that can drive curing. And this is the growing population and particularly the changing consumer patterns in the country. We have got the youth and the middle class. They are going for cold products or cooled products, unlike the old generation. And then we have the increasing urbanization. Many people are moving to counties, towns in the county headquarters, and some towns in sub-counties. And they'll need cooling, and therefore this would also be a key driver. But then there's also increased production and marketing of fresh produce. This is accepted not only for export, but also for the urban centers. So then we can see, though food loss or post-harvest losses is a key determinant of curing, we also have the consumption patterns and other factors affecting this. And therefore, we need also to invest in awareness so that we can convince the consumer about curing and the benefits of it. What kind of market demand do we have for cold chain infrastructure in Kenya? We have tried to predict this. There's still a lot to be done as far as the meats are concerned, and this is followed by the fish. So it's good that Savanna Circuit is working in this. Daily, there are key investments. In fact, the county and the national governments have invested highly in curing, in daily. So the projected market by 2030 is a bit low. But then you see in fruits and vegetables is another area that we need to look into so that we can be able to capture the current and the projected market demand. And if we look at the different technologies, you'll find that they range from the simple evaporative cooling that we can have in potatoes and some of the fruits like mangoes for a few days, to cold rooms where probably you can be able to keep the commodity for 3 to 4 days and even months for some of the products. And in the next slide, you'll see that we have also mobile technologies that we can invest in, and some are portable, like the portable milk ATMs that are in the country. And you also saw from Leo's slides that there are diverse technologies that we can invest in and we can adopt in the country. So we are not short of technologies in the country. Actually, what we are short of is efficient technologies and technologies that can work in the last mile or where the farmers are. In the next slide, you'll see in the fisheries also, we have the cooler box, or the cool box is the key one. And this is linked to ice making. So the key investments here, which Savanna has also gone for, is being able to make ice, and then this ice is packaged in a cold box or in a cool box. And we found, I'm going to show you in the next slide, that the demand for cool box is very high, and you can't compare it with other technologies. And you can see among more than 400 fishermen, 2/3 of them, they actually use, or they would like to use the cooler box instead of the fridges and the freezers. And this is mainly because the cooler box is mobile. You can even go to fish to the lake or to the ocean with it in your boat. And if you have got a process whereby you are able to make ice, then the fishermen are very happy because they'll be able to bring fresh produce from the waters. And in the next slide, you can see if we are going to invest in different business models in the country, what is working. And this was also mentioned in Leo. First of all, at the right hand there at the top, you can see is pay as you store or use model, or the rental model. Savanna Circuit is in this, and many other organizations. This is working, and later on I'm going to present an investment analysis of what we have seen. However, doesn't work. It can work like in fisheries, it can work like in dairy, but there are other areas that it may not work. In Kenya, we have also found that the exporter cooperative model is very important. The exporter comes with a code room and is able to work with the cooperatives, particularly for export products. And then we have found in terms of processing, particularly for meat, you could have the cooperative working with a private company. The private company then supplies the cooling infrastructure, and then the cooperative is able to bring the product from their farms. So these are the three models that we have found working in Kenya, and we hope that investors and stakeholders can invest in them. Next, please. Yeah, this is where we did an investment analysis, and you can see at the top there, the code room, when it's taken to the market, and then you have pay as you go, doesn't work. That's where we have the red there. In most cases, it's not viable at all. Whereas the code room, when it is with the cooperative and an aggregator or an exporter, then it's working very well. And you can see it is leading there where we have got the low level, the low risk profile and low requirement of capital. And then you can see the ice water dispenser is working very well. Here we measured it when it is with the local communities, not under the pay-as-you-go model. And it's also working very well because you can see the risk is high because the communities may not be able to maintain it alone. But the required capital is very low. The requirement for grants is very low. So if an investor comes in, like a producer of infrastructure or companies that are aggregating, they can work very well and the ice water dispenser can be viable. Next. Yeah, Rio presented this. Thank you, Rio. Even it's a bit updated from Rio's side, that we need an ecosystem approach for successful investments in agricultural cold chain. One cannot work alone. You can't be isolated because you'll need policy and regulation support, you'll need capital, you'll need data, and you need market linkages. And this is the emphasis that we are having in the country, that an ecosystem approach whereby you have actors working together will be needed for successful investments in agricultural cold chain. Next. And therefore, some of the actors that you need may support infrastructure and technical issues. Others would provide financing. Others would provide advice. There are many more, not only these ones that we have mentioned here, and the reports that we have already generated, which will be distributed later by World Bank and the Ministry of Agriculture, Kenya, could provide more organizations. Next. However, there are challenges, and we see challenges in 4 different areas: technical, economic, institutional, social, and governance. Technically, what we have in the market, we have limited capacity for designing, for installation, and maintenance of cold chain technologies. And therefore, there will be need for training here, particularly in terms of maintenance of equipment. SMAP and other organizations have developed manuals for this, so they are already available, and we can ensure that we are going to boost capacity in this area. As far as economic is concerned, this will remain a challenge, mainly because of the asset specificity nature of cold chain technologies. Mainly, when you buy them, you may not use them for other purposes. Like the milk coolers can only be used for milk. You can't even use them to transport water. And therefore, one has to invest well and assess whether it's needed before buying. And then also the capex are very high for cold chain infrastructure. Institutional, one of the things that is key here is the coordination of the actors, because we have missed synergies. We find actors working in isolation, and we also finding that some actors don't have the required quality, they're missing the data that is needed, and therefore the investments are not likely to be sustainable. In terms of social and governance, the key issue here is weak leadership of the farmer groups and cooperatives. There should be investments in that area. And then there should also be corrective action, investments in terms of ensuring there's corrective action of farmer groups. We found that farmer groups are likely to be successful if they come together rather than a farmer adopting cold chain technology alone. In the next slide then, I'm going to conclude with this and tell you that we did a strategy in the country. And in this strategy, we need to provide a neighboring policy environment that will foster innovation, competitiveness, and private sector participation in the country. And then we have a coordination, a way of coordinating actors so that they can be able to benefit from one another. And after that, then we can invest in accelerating uptake of cold chain investments and technologies through capacity enhancement and with the capacity enhancement, we'll also be talking of the issues of maintenance, the issues of installation. So these are the key pillars that we need in the country in order to invest and in order to upscale investments of cold chain technology in agriculture sector. Thank you for this. We look forward to get feedback from you.
Well, thank you, Professor Mburu, for your presentation.